Hello, it's KRBrickBot, and I'm finally going to get around reviewing one of the helloka봇 Bumba toys that actually bombas and bombs. I mean, not bombs as bad, but screw Bumba. The same styling of Season 12 jungly packaging. There's the English name right there with a U, and then the word mark. It has the Bumba with the balls on the serifs. Side of the box has more renders and such, and the back of the box has the nice straightforward robot mode. Action feature, car mode. You can store the balls on his legs, in his feet, and then in his chest. Bit of a character bio there. First released in April of 22. Ages 5 and up and not 3 and up because it has small choking hazard balls. Screw Bumba is a traditional car bot, a red SUV with external weapon storage. You can just take that off if you don't want it. So looking at this car, yeah, of course it's a generic type of SUV. Just it has some clearance. Don't mind the feet. You make the connection of what real life vehicle this vaguely represents. Kind of looks like a Cadillac Escalade. I guess these particular car detailings would include like the slightly raised hood, the hexagonal door handles, some slits there. Suspension, there is some suspension there, molded in there, that's pretty neat and an extra bit, although it doesn't exactly go all the way to the wheels, so that's kind of fake suspension. Also on the rear wheels, those are some radially branching wheels that have really thin wheels in both the thickness and width. A middle completely black door with silver sides. I mean, I guess it kind of implies just like reinforced doors for whatever reason. Guess these windows are looking a little narrower as they actually slope upwards. Nice silver trim on the top of the cars. Yeah, that's a really nice finish. Pretty plain top, all things considered, and 2 gas caps. And the front, yeah, it's pretty plain. I mean, it has a nice vertically silver grille and bright green, solid green headlights that go all the way to the side. That's a very stylistic type of headlight. And also green rear lights. Even the back of the robot feet have some vents in there, so it is some sort of vague vehicle detailing. Also even little bars in the back. You can take one of the CarBALLS bombs, which are the exact same size as the MechCardBall Grand Balls, and split open the front. Then you roll the magnetic ball in there. Yeah, and then an engine pops out. I mean, that is a really awesome gimmick feature. Yeah, it just opens up a very big and blocky, like, V8 engine with, like, a drive chain and all those, like, 6 exhaust stacks. And then, yeah, press on that engine to make it launch the ball. Yeah, just, it goes right on here. And then I guess when you're done with it, you can just fold it up and then, open up the slightly spring-loaded hatch here. And thus is the reason for the slightly bulgy hinge, but it doesn't stand out too much. This is a fun gimmick to give to an otherwise pretty plain car, and it's all built-in and internal, so it's not so intrusive of a gimmick. Maybe the lock and loading is unconventional, but you can also like close it up if you don't want to have the ball out in the open like that, except for the engine block, but then you can have a surprise attack. For transformation, yeah, you can just split open those doors and then pull out the arms, bring them down. Then, yeah, move those wheels forward. Wheels that clicking rather loudly. With plastic hinges that are already stressing, they inevitably stretch and stress. Yeah, if this was any sort of thinner, cheaper plastic, these would really break over time, but I hope this holds out. You can fold those panels all the way down in here. And then see this like unfold like in like 3 different points, like this 180, entire 180 around this hinge. And then another 90-degree bend there. And then another 90-degree bend down here, that's like a triple unfolding. Then you can take the ball and put it in here, or just press the trigger here for a dramatic head reveal. Head reveal. Yep, that head was the engine block. And then equip weapon. The robot mode reveal is a nice, lovely color combination of red, white, black, and bright green. This is a unique head sculpt for CarBALLS, as Screw Bumba has a visor with slits like a knight's helmet, and pretty angry silver eyebrows. Yeah, encased in the engine block. And the nice bright green eyes, solid green eyes, so I guess it might look a little tidy in comparison to the body because it was just wrapped around an engine block. Maybe if the head was exactly the same width as the engine, it would look more natural, but you know, it's a robot, so it had its head hidden in there. He does have some pretty good limb sculpting, like, you know, with the white arms and a little bit of green in there. And the legs has a nice green there and some lamellar style legs. Pretty simplistic in the inner leg detailing, all things considered. It's just mostly squares and bolts. Though these heels do have extra little fans there. These also look like fans. Even the sides that are like slightly unsightly, they even do have some molded sculpt lines, even though the ball launching parts kind of break up the sculpt. You come to the back, there's also some continuity there, like with some nice ridge lines and what kind of look like suspension over another turbine hinge. And yes, that is the entire car front, like a good half of the car front just sticking out of there, but it doesn't look too bad. It doesn't jut out that much. For articulation, the head goes on a full swivel. Engine block head. Shoulders go out that much, but there's a lot of shoulder kibble here, so that really gets in the way. As for the shoulders that either sit too low or the head sits too high, it does have the good old ratchet all full 360 around. Mind this shoulder kibble. But never at a straight angle, because weirdly enough, this mounting hinge here, it's also at an offset angle. Yeah, so that's a very weird diagonal just to get the car mode bits in. A weirdly offset side mounted elbow joint. Nice and ratchety on metal pins. I mean, yeah, there's a bit more pins on here. So that goes at 90 degrees and a little bit of an inward bend. I guess to compensate for this kind of weird joint and also no bicep swivels, but at least it kind of does this. So this is, yeah, those are weird arms. As for the legs, they can go no back at all. There's stuff getting in the way. There's some sculpting in the way, I guess, for stability, and it can go exactly 90 degrees forward. And then it can go obtuse knees on that ridiculous thigh-to-leg ratio because of how this thing folds into the car mode like that. And I also guess that's why this doesn't go that much further, because so that it has a good stopping point when you're just pushing this thing in. It doesn't go over like this. Oh yeah, but so when you do it outward, When you go all the way outward, you can go back that far, I guess. I'm always forgetting the thigh swivels. The lower half of the legs are nicely ratcheted, so I guess that could be an extra joint. Yeah, I guess like for heel back pose, I guess. And then while this toe down is there, so yeah, I guess you can kind of make it walk like this. Yeah, I guess posability is average, but not that great. And I guess just mostly due to the arms. Besides the gimmick of articulation, his main gimmick are the balls. So you see he has a big ball in his chest, and there is a trigger here, big spring-loaded button, so it doesn't go very far, because of, I guess, this thing is kind of heavy. Even though the back plunger has more reach than the top button. And without the ball, it does look a little bare and incomplete. You just have a big old gap, even though it is kind of filled with that magnetic CarBALLS symbol mounting point for the ball. But I guess he could do a head nodding motion without the ball. His other ball launching weapon is this fork, this tri-prong fork or trident, a short-handled trident. You can put a ball in there, and yeah, you can roll it around. There's a big hole here, and there is some flexible joints here, so this is also a pressure launcher. That doesn't go very far either. I guess the idea is like that this is like a racket or paddle ball, or just yeah, and you just could spike balls really hard with this thing, but in case you don't want it, you can just leave it off the side or just put them on the sides of the arm for weapon storage or just side-mounted weapon. And then you probably notice the balls in his feet. Yeah, I guess these are just extra storage for extra balls. Yeah, as you can see, they do hold in pretty securely until you lift out the foot and then they roll out easily. Doesn't really clip in, it's just held in by just the friction of this foot. Yeah, I guess the problem with this is that, I mean, just a minor nitpick is that because there's only like 3 balls total. You either like have to have like a big gaping empty chest with the ball and the trident, or leave the ball in the chest and have an empty trident, or just take one of the balls in his feet, then do it like this, so he's fully armed, but then it's asymmetrical with like a big gap in his feet that would give more color. So it would be nice if it had 4 balls total. I guess if you loosen that up, it's also an extra point of kicking upwards. If I'm honest, Groove Bumba is probably not one of the best large carbots of the continuing largest expansion of single characters. Just mostly because of the arms. I mean, the arms are really weird and limited. But he is one of the first carbots I can ever to have like launching projectile gimmicks. I mean, you don't see that in many Transformer-like figures these days, especially in Transformers. And even if the novelty of balls, low-powered balls, wears off really quick, I think it's the okay robot figure on its own. It's especially a alright car mode on its own, just a big old chunky car. I guess the ball launching gimmick is a little more fun in the vehicle mode. I mean, because it just mostly rolls along. Yeah, but it's the fact that thing works in both modes. It's just pretty fun to, you know, just for all sorts of ball launching games, low power, just rolling along. I guess I really don't mind mainline gimmick toys as long as the gimmick is mostly contained in the chest area and or the weapon. Yeah, so this is an okay robot, which may or may not be up to your fancy. But they have 2 of these in case you like different styles of launching balls.